It's a Wednesday with Malcom Boyden on BBC Hereford and Worcester. Now, salt has made the news here on BBC Hereford and Worcester today. Elliot Webb, did you hear him at breakfast talking about the research which shows UK adults are consuming a whopping 3,224 tonnes of salt every year from pizzas alone. Just the pizzas, mind. Half the pizzas sold here provide at least a day's worth of salt, and salt can be dangerous in such large amounts. Well, there's that, and there's a discussion also going on today about whether or not we should be changing the definition of junk food to include processed foods like pizzas and sausages. Now, what do you think of when I say junk food? Yeah, I thought so. Chocolate, sweets, crisps. But research has shown that ultra-processed foods, such as frozen meals, reconstituted meats and sausages, can be more unhealthy than what we know as the regular junk food. So the definition of junk food needs to change, doesn't it? Well, I don't know. Let's talk to this, or let's talk about this, to health coach Vanessa Sturman. She's lovely. She's our favourite. I've just told her that off air. She's from Energise and Thrive Plant-Based. She's on with me now on the line. Hello, Vanessa.
Hello.
Hi. So this is interesting. What's junk food to you?
Junk food to me now, it is a little bit of a scale, but it's anything that really doesn't have whole foods in it. So when we talk about whole foods, we're talking about our fruits, our vegetables, our beans, what I call real food. And then the moment you process hugely, because we can process a bit, for example, nuts into nut butter, that's totally fine when it comes to processing. But when we take out all of the fibre, we don't have great nutrients, and we add tons of salt and sugar, and then we get food that doesn't fill us up, puts us further towards lifestyle diseases like diabetes and heart disease, and actually means that we don't get the energy we need. It damages our gut. To me, that's junk food.
What do we mean by processed foods? What exactly is that?
So processed foods means we're taking it somewhere away from the whole food. Now, this is a scale. So, for example, a great example of a whole food is an apple. If you start to put that into apple puree, you've processed it a bit, but that's okay. I mean, even when you make a smoothie, you're processing something a little bit. But then when we start to take out even more, so we take out even more fiber, we start to add more unnatural things, very refined sugar, we add a ton of salt, we take away a lot of the water content. That's really important. The water content of whole foods and things like fruit keeps us really full without chucking in tons of calories into our bodies. Something like junk food has a very, very low water content, so it can sit on your shelf for potentially years and not go off. And that will mean that we won't get so full on it, but it will be quite calorie dense as well, which is also why processed foods, very processed foods, can be linked to obesity.
Right, so I said junk food earlier on, chocolate, sweets and crisps. I say the new junk food, frozen meals, sausages and reconstituted meats. Are the last three even more junkified than the first three?
Possibly, yes, depending on the exact products themselves, because you can get a few frozen meals, and there are actually a few fantastic companies that have popped up that do very healthy frozen meals. So we can't put them all necessarily into the same box. But certainly processed meats, I mean, we've known for a long time how bad and damaging those are for our health, how many additives are in them, and how that can, again, take us further towards things like heart disease. So I would say, yes, they're very, very dangerous. But you could even make healthy crisps at home with thin pieces of potato or kale, for example. So it also depends on the actual process that's gone into the food.
Gotcha. So then, junk food comes in all shapes and sizes. So are there plant-based junk foods out there?
Of course, there absolutely is. A really great example is Oreos. I mean, I'm not saying don't eat them, but biscuits, for example. There are many biscuits that were always, and I'm going to put some big inverted commas, plant-based, as in they didn't have animal products in them. So we do need to be careful on every side. And actually, the more we just head towards the actual whole food, like I said, then we know we're doing something healthy, because it's not always going to be the case. Just because you've picked up a packet and it says plant-based on it, it doesn't mean it's actually healthy, especially if it is a packet of biscuits full of sugar and salt.
So is the conclusion, do you think, Vanessa, it's all a case of balance here?
I really, really, really do. So let's take the example you talked about of pizza before.
Yeah.
This doesn't mean, all right, you can never ever go and have a pizza again. My suggestion is, and this will help your health, possibly help your pocket as well, because, buying pizzas isn't always the cheapest thing either. You could maybe have a bit less of the pizza, but my concern is what else is on your plate. Have you made a big salad, add some extra beans in there for more fiber and they will fill you up so much? Make yourself a hummus, anything else, have a lovely guacamole on there. That's what's going to make it healthier with a bit of pizza.
And that's why we have you on. And it's always lovely having you on, Vanessa. Thank you so much for your time, your experience and your expertise.
Thank you very much. Always a pleasure.
And for me too. That is Vanessa Sturman. You can find her at Energize and Thrive Plant Based.